What's up, Mr. X Crew? And today we're going to be talking about the 2019 Buick Enclave. Now, the Buick Enclave first came out in 2010, right next to the Dodge Journey and everything else that came out in 2010. At the time, I was 10 years old, so I didn't know too much about the Buick Enclave. I didn't even know if it was a thing. I didn't know if it was in existence. Not until 9 years later. 9 years later, the new it had a facelift, and it was all futuristic. Buick decided to. So right years later, back in 2005, right after the Buick, the LeSabre died. The LeSabre has died. So right after that, it went to the LaCrosse. 5 years later, in 2010. And shortly after that, the LaCrosse has gotten facelifts. I think the last LaCrosse that they made was in 2015. 5 years later. Now in 2016, the GMC Arcadia has given a facelift. The GMC Arcadia was a futuristic SUV, and it was a more aggressive looking, more futuristic kind of vehicle that no one really could not afford, because mostly some of the people that didn't have that kind of money, they went to more of a compact vehicle like a Dodge Neon or a Chevy Impala from 2014. But forget all those other cars that I mentioned. Or like the 2020 Jeep Grand Wagoneer that came out for its 75th anniversary back when the first Grand Wagoneer came out in the 1980s. Now moving on. Fast forward to 2020 standards, we got the Enclave. The Buick Enclave first came out in 2019. Now, the one I remember came out in 2019, so let's go with that. My parents recently bought a Buick Enclave that they thought that everybody could be comfortable with. I myself was comfortable with that car. That's basically a $20,000 SUV or higher. Commit me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, commit me in the chat box or in the comments. But it's a nice car. It's painted black cherry. It's got a little pinstriping there. It's like a peanut butter kind of. It's got like sparkle. It's got like a sparkle touch. It's black cherry with hints of sparkle. When the sun hits it, it just starts swimming. But it's one of my favorite SUVs next to Mercedes-Benz's G-Wagon. G-Wagon. But the Buick Enclave has so many features that it has my head spinning. It just has my head spinning around and around and around like I'm in a roller coaster. But on top of all that, it's basically a nice SUV. I don't know, none of y'all don't even have one of those. Yeah? None of y'all even have one of those Buick Enclaves, but maybe someday you might get yourself one. Right? Right. But on top of all that, okay, now it's time for the specs and powertrain and everything else. The Buick Enclave has a 9-speed transmission. It has a 9-speed automatic transmission that goes up to 170 miles an hour. 0 to 60 is in 8 seconds flat. Horsepower is at 310 horsepower. Foot-pound-feet of torque is rated at 285. Yeah, I know foot-pound-feet of torque is not the much, but it's towing capacity. You can tow it to 5,000 pounds. It can hold 7 people in one ride. It's a nice, comfortable mid-size crossover, but it's also a full-fledged luxury SUV. It's got a lot of chrome. It has a fake side vent, but the exhaust pipes are so nice that you don't even know that the engine is running. You can't tell that the engine is running unless you've hit the floor. If you slam it on the floor, you will hear that 310 horsepower V6. You will hear it. As soon as you hit the gas, goes up. If you go up like the 80 miles an hour on the freeway, you are on air. It will make you feel like you are riding a Tesla Model S. But Tesla is in trouble. They always have been in trouble since the Model S has came out in 2013, but they are in serious trouble. But we ain't talking about Tesla. We talking about the Buick Enclave. So let's get back into that. Buick Enclave, it will remind you of a 2018 Chevy Traverse. It will remind you of a 2018 Toyota Highlander, and it will also remind you of I want to say the 2010 Arcadia. It reminds me of a lot of cars. So it has a lot of parts, a lot of chrome, a lot of shiny bits. You got the car is sitting on 18 alloy wheels. I don't like alloy wheels on that car. I prefer if I wanted to go to a dealership and buy a Buick Enclave, I would get one that has, I want to say 19s in the front and 20s in the back, sitting on chrome rims. That's how I would do it, but I would not get it in white. I would probably get the highest package of all time. But on top of all that, it is kind of expensive, so I don't think that's a good idea. So, I guess the base model is kind of decent. I mean, it's not bad or anything. It's just that, it could use a little more horsepower rating. I looked up my research on every single piece of the car. Tail lights are very futuristic. The tailgate goes up by itself. You got an 8-inch infotainment system. You got a push start button. Now here's a trick about that push start button. When you step inside and get ready to go to work or somewhere, and if you want to start it, yeah, sure, you want to make sure you got the key with you because you can't go anywhere without that key. So make sure you have that key at all times. But there's a trick to that when you start the car. If you want to start it, you want to put your foot on the brake, then start it. Brake first, then start the car. If you don't do that, you won't go anywhere. You'll just sit there scratching your head every 5 minutes wondering, why isn't this car starting? Why did I not start this car? But if you would listen to Mr. X, and he will tell you how to start that car, and you will be on your way in no time. No time, no soon. You will be on your way. I am a very hypothetical car enthusiast. So if you guys want to know more about cars, come to my channel and you will find out a lot about cars. I will tell you about Toyota. I will tell you about Ferraris. I will tell you about Lamborghinis, Rolls Royces, Mercedes Benzes, Ford, Lincoln, which is Ford's luxury brand, which has been around since the 1970s, or probably longer than that, since the first Continental came out, which was back in the 1950s, back in 1958, right next to the Buick Electra and the Buick 225 Electra in 2005. They started out the LeSabre, which is dead. All I see is LeSabres, and every old person that I wish I do not want to know actually rides in them. It kind of makes me cringe a little because these so-called car enthusiasts actually think they know a lot about about those cars. But I like newer cars that come out in 2019, 2020, 2021 standards. Like the 2022 Traverse that they came out with, which looks a lot better than the Enclave does, actually. I hate to say it, but the Traverse has used the Pentastar V6 engine for the 3.6 liter Pentastar V6 engine, which holds the same horsepower rating, but it's a little lighter. It's so light you can almost feel the car that's about to flip. You know, I always hold my life in that car, cause I always feel like that car is about to flip no time soon. You know, it's. I'm not really a fan of the Traverse, not the older Traverse, but the newer Traverse. You have my full dedication and respect and integrity. The model for this channel, I forgot to make it. The model is a channel is respect the channel, give the channel some respect, give the channel some integrity, and give the channel some responsibility. Amen. Alright, Mr. X Crew, I will see you soon. This has been the video about the 2019 Enclave. Have a good day. Stay fly, stay cool, and stay extra, extra beautiful. All right, and don't let nobody tell y'all that y'all ain't different. Don't let nobody tell y'all no different. We shine cause we different. We aim for the stars. We shoot for the moon. We come to this channel to be successful as a family, as a tribe, as a squad. And I owe it all to y'all that keep me on this channel for many years to come. So, and stay safe out there. If you're on the road, stay safe. Be extra cautious about this coronavirus crap, even though there's no ending to it. And now it's time for announcements. This is Mr. X talking. Now, I have a birthday coming up in 25 days, y'all. And now Mr. X will have a special guest on the channel. You guys will not know him, but he's family to me. He's my brother from another mother. He's at work right now, but on my birthday, he's going to come up here and he's going to introduce himself to y'all. And we'll see y'all soon. Have a good day, Mr. X fam. Peace.